Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, a shooting leaves 2 people dead and pushes Kern County over the edge into what now is the deadliest year on record since KGET started tracking homicides.
A local nursing home slapped with a major fine for coronavirus-related failures after 19 residents died due to the virus in a matter of months.
A local restaurant takes a stand against the governor's new orders to go back to outdoor-only dining. This is Thursday, November 19th, 2020. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us here on this Thursday. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher, officially 1 week out from Thanksgiving. It's so hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. And the weather forecast looks beautiful for that holiday as we get closer to that holiday. Let's turn things over to Kevin Charette, who's monitoring it closely, because I know a lot of people are probably going to move things outside for this holiday, especially since a lot of people are trying to move things outdoors since coronavirus continues to run rampant in our community.
Yeah, temperatures are going to be mild. We're not looking at 80s, that's for sure. Those days are done, even though we just saw it a couple of days ago. The one thing we're seeing this morning here is a little bit of cloud cover around the area, which we will continue to see throughout the morning. As we take a look at the satellite and radar right now, you'll see here that there's just a few clouds around the area, but that's it. We'll continue to see clearing as we go throughout the day. As we take a look at temperatures right now, 49 degrees in Bakersfield, a northwest wind at 5. Visibility out at Meadows Field showing 1 mile. I'm going to check into that. I'm not sure why we're seeing such low visibility at the airport. And then for the hour by hour, we can see lower 60s throughout the afternoon. The one thing we may see in some areas this morning is a little patchy fog, so we may be seeing a little bit of that out that direction. 45 in Tehachapi, a west-northwest wind at 20, so we are still seeing a little bit of a breeze out there. And as we take a look at the winds, you can see it here through parts of the 58 out in the Mojave area where we're seeing the strongest of them. As we take a look at the hour by hour, we're expecting 50s today. Then by 5 o'clock, we're back into those 40s. I'll have more in your forecast. That's coming up in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Kevin. And breaking overnight, the second victim of a shooting in East Bakersfield has died. As the search continues for the shooter, now responsible for killing 2 men. It happened just before 6 last night at the Fast Trip at the intersection of Niles Street and Fairfax Road in East Bakersfield. The sheriff's office says when they arrived, they found 2 men with gunshot wounds inside a car. That vehicle riddled with bullet holes. One victim was pronounced dead on the scene, and the other was on the way to the hospital, pronounced dead. Deputies did not find a gun on scene, but say witnesses reported a man shooting into the vehicle before getting into another vehicle and taking off. The identities of the victims has not been released, and officials have not released more information on the shooter. KCSO asks anyone with information to call them at 861-3110, or you can remain anonymous by calling the secret witness hotline at 322-4040. And these shootings mark a grave milestone for Kern County, bringing our homicide total to 114, making this the deadliest year since 17 News started tracking homicides 5 years ago. The previous record was set in 2018 with 112 homicides total. Since 2000, more than 1,000 local people have become the victims of deadly assaults. On average, someone's killed nearly every 4 days in Kern County.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County and a spike in reported deaths. Yesterday, Public Health reported 5 new COVID-19 related deaths and 182 new cases. Our death toll now stands at 437 since March. Public health officials now say more than 37,000 people have been infected with this virus. 81 people are in the hospital. New this morning, a local nursing home has been slapped with a near $100,000 fine related to coronavirus workplace failures. Kingston Healthcare Center has become notorious for its handling of the novel virus. 17 News first broke the news about dozens of patients and staff testing positive for coronavirus in early May. State health officials from the Occupational Safety and Health Administration recently inspected the facility and found 8 violations, 4 of which are considered serious. The fines total more than $93,000. One citation says 4 employees had to go to the hospital for coronavirus. According to the state public health department, 175 residents and staff at Kingston have tested positive for coronavirus. 19 residents have died. That's the highest number of coronavirus deaths at a nursing home here in the county. Meantime, Cal OSHA regulators are expected to make a decision today on whether to adopt new, stronger rules to crack down on businesses not complying with coronavirus safety measures. If approved, Cal OSHA says the new rules would allow it to more quickly enforce pandemic safety protocols, including employees maintaining physical distance. The organization's standards board is set to make an announcement regarding the new measures around 10 o'clock this morning. And this as a local cafe says it will not comply with the governor's order to eliminate indoor dining. Maggie's Sunrise Cafe took to Instagram yesterday to announce they will continue indoor and outdoor dining at both of their locations. Under current restrictions, restaurants are allowed to operate outdoors, but the cafe says it will also allow people inside, despite the move back to the purple, more restrictive tier. County officials have not made it clear exactly how they plan to enforce the regulations. Meantime, the Banksville Museum of Art is closing back down in the wake of the move back to purple. The museum, which had recently reopened in limited capacity with strict coronavirus precautionary methods, shut its doors once again yesterday. The museum says even though they will not be there in person, they're continuing to stay committed to the art community and encourage art enthusiasts to stay involved through their YouTube page and other virtual programs.
5:06 is your time now, and after the surge in COVID-19 cases and a drop back into the purple tier, county officials are again stressing the importance of getting tested for COVID-19 ahead of Thanksgiving.
And once again, you can get a free test outside our studios today. 17's Taylor Schaub joins us live at the corner of 22nd and L Streets in downtown Bakersfield to talk more about how you can get a free test. Good morning, Taylor.
Good morning, Alex. We're officially 1 week away from Thanksgiving, and that means county health officials are stressing the importance of coming out and getting tested ahead of the holidays so they can help keep track of the novel virus here. Public Health hopes you come out this morning and get tested even if you're not showing any symptoms. That's very important. We've stressed this every time we've had a testing site. Even if you're not showing any symptoms, coming out and getting tested. And with a staggering increase in cases and hospitalizations across the state, Public Health says we need to once again focus on flattening the curve. Besides the obvious public health implications, county officials have repeatedly said this is one way to help our county advance through the system and reopen businesses. Getting a COVID-19 test can help us get back to the red tier. So coming out can not only keep you and your neighbors safe, but it can also help get us and advance us through the system.
Testing is one of the cornerstones of controlling the spread of a disease like coronavirus. So we really encourage everyone to get tested so that you can know your status, so that you can do the right thing and isolate and protect your loved ones and your community.
Testing begins at 7 this morning. It's going to run until 5 tonight. Again, it's on 22nd and L Street, also known as Compassion Corner. You can park, walk up, and swab yourself. It's one of these swab yourself tests. Pre-registration is encouraged. Just go to kget.com, click on our hot link icon. From there, it will take you to where you need to go to pre-register. And so far, throughout all of our testing sites here, we've had more than 1,200 people participate. Back to you, Maddie and Alex.
Welcome back with state news this morning. And a Riverside County probations officer has died from complications of COVID-19. 34-year-old Deputy Probation Officer Julio Beltran died Saturday. The Riverside Sheriff's Association posted this photo on its Twitter page. Governor Gavin Newsom released a statement on behalf of himself and his wife saying, quote, "He will be remembered for his dedication to his community and commitment to his work. We extend our sincerest condolences to Officer Beltran's family, friends, and colleagues during this difficult time. In honor of Beltran, Capitol flags will be flown at half-staff." COVID-19 strikes a Coast Guard vessel at sea with 11 crew members infected. Officials say the USCG cutter Stratton returned back to its port in Alameda yesterday, cutting its 7-week patrol in the Eastern Pacific pretty short. The spokesperson says the source of the outbreak is not clear at this time, but medical officials are undergoing contact tracing. Before departing on October 28th, crew members underwent a period of self-quarantine and were required to pass 2 coronavirus tests.
5:19 is your time now. Back here at home, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused economic hardship for a lot of people in Kern County. Victory Outreach Southwest teamed up with New Arising Destiny Center to hold a Helping Hand turkey giveaway. They handed out 300 turkeys yesterday to families in need.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back on your 17 Business Watch. People are spending less in 2020, especially on splurge items and experiences. The global luxury goods market is down 23% in 2020, contracting for the first time since 2009, according to Bain & Company's 19th luxury study. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, there has been a pause on global travel, and people who used to splurge on vacation are spending money locally or online instead. Personal luxury goods sales are also down, especially watches and apparel, with a sharp decline in formal wear. And with the stresses of 2020, many of us have turned to comfort food. Pizza Hut is taking that literally with a limited edition pan pizza weighted blanket. Pizza Hut says the blanket is as thick and toasty as its namesake. The 15-pound gravity blanket retails for $150 and can be bought online. I think Maddie is buying that blanket as we speak. No, just kidding. The holiday season is upon us, and that means kids across the country will be putting the finishing touches on their Christmas lists in the coming days. Experts already have a pretty good sense of what they'll be asking for. NBC's Chris Pallone takes a look.
This holiday season, when it comes to the hottest toys, everything old is new again. But the Toy Insider's Marissa DiBartolo says even the classics, like dolls, are getting a tech upgrade for today's savvy kids.
This is Mealtime Magic. She's a cute little doll with lots of facial movements. She loves to blow raspberries at you.
Characters from the big and little screens are always popular. And this year, nothing is hotter than Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian.
This is the animatronic edition of the child from Hasbro. He will wiggle his ears and chat with you, and he even uses the Force.
And like everything, the COVID-19 pandemic is having a big influence on the toy market.
We were really taken aback by how popular board games really became again. This is like a sort of an outdated play pattern that kids were really excited about.
Puzzles, too. And it turns out endless scrolling on social media is influencing your kids' gift choices this year.
The rise of TikTok and these quick videos, even again in the same vein as nostalgia, think roller skates.
Toy industry sales are up 16% so far this year, and analysts expect that trend to continue.
Families are really eager and looking for ways to spend time together, and toys and games provide the perfect outlet for them to do that.
In a holiday season like no other, a return to basics with a modern twist. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
Thanks, Kev. 17 News is your local election headquarters. U.S. coronavirus deaths are past 250,000 as the pandemic explodes at a historic pace, and President-elect Biden pressures the White House to start helping with the transition, though President Trump's focus remained locked on challenging election results. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Maddie, NBC News has learned that behind the scenes, a few members of the Trump administration have started reaching out to the Biden team. But Biden officials say it's not nearly enough to make up for the national security and COVID briefings that are still being denied. As the nation stares down more than 250,000 coronavirus deaths.
My grandfather passed from it. My dad died from it. They both died 6 hours apart from one another.
President-elect Joe Biden met with frontline healthcare workers in a virtual roundtable.
This is like going to war. You need a commander-in-chief.
NBC News has learned some current and former Trump administration officials have privately reached out to the Biden transition team, signaling they believe he will be the next president. But with President Trump still not conceding and official channels stonewalling, the president-elect says he needs access to real-time pandemic data and vaccine planning.
I am optimistic, but we should be further along.
President Trump remains focused on swing state legal challenges, now paying for a partial recount in Wisconsin. One is already underway in Georgia, where 3 counties have discovered thousands of uncounted ballots, narrowing Biden's lead there to 12,000 votes.
We've not found widespread voter fraud.
And with new unemployment numbers coming out today and expanded benefits expiring at the end of the year,
We're sort of just dealing with the crash.
lawmakers are under mounting pressure to reach a compromise for a new COVID relief bill to keep struggling workers and small businesses from falling off a financial cliff. The two parties remain close to $2 trillion apart in the price tag they want to see for a new stimulus bill. And they also have yet to reach a deal to fund the government and prevent a shutdown in 3 weeks. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
In your 17 Court Watch, a man convicted of assaulting a 9-month-old boy was sentenced to 10 years in prison. 28-year-old Davon Pearson was sentenced yesterday after being convicted of willful cruelty to a child with an enhancement for eliciting great bodily injury. Upset over the baby's crying, Pearson was accused of grabbing the infant and dropping him on a concrete floor, then hitting him in the face, causing multiple skull fractures, which prosecutors say caused long-term physical and mental health effects. The child's mother, Maria Walton, was also found guilty of willful cruelty to a child. Her sentencing has been rescheduled for December 16th. That little boy, Duke Kelsey, has since been adopted by a local family. Jill Kelsey and her husband, Heath, first met Duke after his lengthy stint at Valley Children's Hospital in Madera. In addition to their 3 biological children, the pair have fostered 9 kids.
Oh, that's a great update. Bakersfield police are still searching for a teenager who's been missing for 10 days. Police say 15-year-old Johnny Gutierrez was last seen November 9th on R Street, not far from Lowell Park on R and 6th Streets. He has had no history of running away. If you see him or know where he is, call BPD at 327-7111.
In education news this morning, the coronavirus surge has caused some schools to reconsider their reopening plans. When Kern moved into the red tier, Bakersfield Christian High School reopened to most students. Hundreds returned to campus at the end of October, hopeful for in-person learning. And after only a few weeks of in-person learning, a handful of students got the coronavirus. California schools are required to shut down if 5% of students test positive for COVID-19. At BCHS, that number was slightly over 1%, but the school still wanted to put everything on pause.
With this Thanksgiving break coming up and putting our students and parents' health first, it really seemed like a no-brainer.
Kern has 47 school districts, each with its own reopening plan. Most are planning to bring students back in phases, starting with disabled and homeless student populations. The exact dates of rolling out each phase has changed over time depending on coronavirus numbers. This as New York City moves all schools back to remote learning as of today. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio made the announcement yesterday on Twitter. The city's entire public school system will shut down today, prompted by a 3% test positivity rate over a 7-day rolling average. Schools in the nation's largest public school system have been open for in-person instruction for the past 8 weeks. New York City was the first major city in the country to reopen school buildings.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.